You have reached the Geek Elite. Good luck.
Did you really want to spend more than 10 minutes talking about Incredible Hulk, though? The death of the Incredible Hulk?
Nope. Nope.
Let's get into that journey into mystery as we talk about a movie that Ian has been excited about since we started talking about the non-MCU Marvel movies. We're talking about Blade from 1998.
Yes.
Yes.
We had quite the jump from 1995 to 1998.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little dormant period, and after Generation X, I think everybody needed a second to go, hold on, let's rethink this. Maybe we call Wesley Snipes.
I think they were like, you know what? How about we just stick to the animated stuff for our Marvel stuff at this point? I think that's doing well enough.
Yeah. Not a bad choice. Not a bad choice.
So to talk about Blade 1998, we have a very special guest. Someone we both love, Rafa.
Mm-hmm. That's me. Some of you might have known me. I go by a little moniker called Mobile Rafi. I think that's because I'm trying to create entertainment on the go, whether it's action figures or anything else. But one thing that I'm always talking about is passion. And whether you watch my YouTube, you check me out on Twitter, or even some of the articles that I write for Geek Elite, passion is really important. And I got to say, as a kid growing up, movies just take you to a new world. And Blade did that for me. And I will be very upfront with you amazing audience out there. I am a bit biased because this movie, there are things about this movie that, aren't the best. You could argue that. I'm not going to defend everything. But this movie elicits something in me that reminds me of why it was so cool and why it felt so good to be a kid. Because this is one of those first of all, this is a superhero movie. But really, Blade is just so damn cool. From the way that he's introduced, and we'll get into that, but this is a character that just showcases exactly why cool is so awesome. This is someone that just dresses amazingly. Somebody who just is a man of few words, but every time he's on screen, he just captures who you are. And then he just kills a bunch of vampires. And being a kid and watching all that blood and gore is just so exciting. And this movie just did so many things for me. So I'm so excited to talk about this movie because it's a place of passion for me, because this is kind of where it all started. Without Blade, we wouldn't have the MCU, I don't think, because this got us into a new area where Blade was popular. People did like this movie. And I feel like this is what Ghost Rider wanted to be. And they failed miraculously because that movie sucked.
I mean, he's not wrong. Blade, no, everybody thinks it's X-Men that started in 2000 that got us the MCU as we know it, but the few of us know Blade 1998.
Blade.
It made it possible for X-Men and Spider-Man to come out in 2001, and then from there on the big money came in and they were like, these comic book movies can actually make money? Okay, we're going to treat it a little bit serious now. The sequels get maybe a little bit lost in the shuffle, but I'm still here for them. I think they're great.
Same here.
They were fun. Like there was nothing awful about it. Hey, real quick, because this hasn't happened while we're streaming. Hey, Magic Bollocks, thank you for that. Thank you for the Prime Gaming sub, my guy. I appreciate you. Welcome in. But yeah, we're streaming, by the way. Anybody who's not watching this live.
That's right. We're streaming. But before we get into talking about Blade, we're going to talk about a little Marvel MCU trailer that dropped earlier this week. I'm calling it a slate announcement trailer because at the end of this trailer, we got to find out the dates and titles of like 4 new movies. 4 movies that we didn't know we were going to be getting. 4 movies that we are super happy about, and then one tease that just, I think, blew everything else out of the water. So before we get to that, what was the beginning part's all about, Stan Lee over voiceover. They're using footage from all the different Marvel movies that we've seen so far, and then they use the bootleg, someone sneaking a camera into the movie theater for Endgame as Captain America hears "on your left," and everybody starts cheering in the audience, and then he calls the Mjolnir back to him and says "assemble," and the crowd goes wild. They use someone else's bootleg video to go ahead and put into their trailer. I love it. Do you think someone comes up and is like, "Wait, that was mine. I shot that. You're not allowed to use it."
Here comes the lawsuit that they get countersued for.
And I think that in itself is a privilege, just because, the MCU movies have been cultivated with such care for us, the fans. There's never been anything like it, and I don't think there'll ever be anything like it either. Looking at this past year with, we had so many amazing shows that did not stick the landing. I'm looking at you, Game of Thrones, and it's one of those things that it's really hard, a set of films, what was that, 22, 23?
23.
Around there?
Yeah.
Right? Movies culminating into a satisfying conclusion that unanimously, for the most part, was loved by everyone. That in itself is something that is already so impossible to do, especially in today's world with just the constant belittlement that we see on social media. So the fact that, we could experience that, and there were those moments. I remember back in Infinity Wars, the moments where Thor comes and just the crowds screaming and enjoying that moment. The moment in Endgame where, Cap gets Mjolnir for the first time. And those are those moments. Seeing that movie in theaters, I saw Endgame by myself. I just wanted to go see it by myself. I didn't invite anybody, but the theater was full. And just experiencing that with complete strangers is one of the greatest feelings I've ever felt. And this slate of films, as you put, Mitch, it's such a celebration because they're so good at creating that hype and that emotion within us from seeing those moments and seeing who's been around. It just gave me goosebumps being able to hear the music swell and seeing some of these characters that, I loved reading about when I was a kid, and now seeing them in new forms in the films. And it's such a delight. There's so many things that are wrong with the world, and we're not going to fix everything. But these are movies that allow us to escape and allow our imagination to get that much stronger so that in the future we can maybe create something. Kind of even with this podcast, right? We're creators. We enjoy making something. It's kind of that concept in psychology, because I am a psychology major, not to show off or anything. But it's that idea, right? When you do research, what's the purpose of research? The purpose of research is to share. You share that. When we read something, when we watch something, we come here to share it with people, because that feeling that we get feels so good. It's like it's like an emotional hug that we wrap around other people. And we're going to have haters around us, but I think this specific trailer was so good at giving a hug to everybody, letting them know, hey, thank you so much for this ride. It's not over yet. Let's keep going. And that's beautiful.
We're ready. We're ready is what they're saying. Come join us.
I don't want to sound like I'm hating on anybody, especially after what Rafa just said. It was beautifully stated. But I've been ready since last March.
Oh, how many times has Black Widow just...
Oh, it's been pushed
back and back.
It's been pushed so far. We got through all of the MCU and half of the non-MCU. So
I'm surprised we still got New Mutants, and that was insane.
That was insane. So here is the slate coming up for the movies that we already knew that we were getting. Black Widow, July 9th, 2021. Cross your fingers, bar any other giant catastrophe happening in the world. We get to watch it. We get to watch it July 9th. Quick, like, how excited are you about those? Is it just the hype of being able to go see a Marvel movie again, or are you actually hyped about Black Widow?
I'm actually hyped about Black Widow, but I think at this point it's been overshadowed by the hype for just another MCU movie.
I think I'm right
Black
there with
Widow has been snubbed for way too long. So it's about time we get her movie, but like, just let me see another piece of the thing.
Right, yeah, I'm in the same boat with that. Well, with me, it's like seeing the first couple of trailers. It looked good. It looked like another Marvel film, and I'm always down to have another one of those. But it wasn't until like the most recent trailer, the way that they utilized, like, again, memories of what happened before, and just seeing some of those emotional swells with the music when she explodes out of that helicarrier. Just some of the transitions that they used. Even the moment where we have David Harbour just saying, "My girls are strong," or whatever he says, right? I got chills and goosebumps. And that made me go, yup, I'm so down. I'm ready to cry because I know what happens at the end.
Plus Taskmaster. How can you be upset about Taskmaster?
You know I'm there for Taskmaster all day, every day.
All day.
Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, September 3rd, 2021. I mean, I am still not super hyped after that trailer. Like, I loved the beginning of the trailer, the end of the trailer not so much. The fight in the bus, and I talked about this last week with Ian. The fight in the bus just looks a little too unfinished for me. It looks a little too rubbery in the fight scene. Maybe it's just the computer screen I was looking at, but it just didn't look right. So, how about the two of you?
Fingers crossed that's just like early post stuff that they decided to show us, and it's gonna crisp up. I don't know much about the source of this, like, of the movie, so I'm just excited to go on an adventure.
Yeah, exactly what Ian said. Same here. It's not very familiar with the character. I've got some reading to do, which I'm excited about. I'm excited that we have some more. Again, I love diversity, and so building this up, and I'm hoping we get that awesome martial arts film and just that culture and just what that's going to build. And yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be great.
I just don't want Netflix Danny Rand to show up.
Eternals, November 5th, 2021. Now, you talked about Shang-Chi, not knowing anything about him. I know absolutely nothing about the Eternals. I know more about Shang-Chi, and that's barely anything. So, the cast on this is amazing, and now they can add to the fact that we got to see a little bit of it in this, like, first look trailer. Like, we got to see Selma Hayek, Angelina Jolie, not Kit Harington, but played his brother, his stepbrother, his half brother in Game of Thrones. He's playing Apollo.
Rob Stark.
Yeah, Rob Stark.
That guy. Yeah. I know names. Chat. Come on, this is what you're here for. Give me the name, please.
I mean, if Magic Box is still in there, he knows the name, and he's not telling it to me. But we got to see him. You know,
Richard Madden.
Richard Madden. Thank you.
Thank you, Rafa. I'm looking at you, chat. You guys suck.
And before you continue, Mitch, fucking Richard Madden, handsome as hell. I'm so excited to see him. I loved him as Rob Stark. God forbid, I miss him so much. I'm so excited that he's back.
Mm-hmm. But you also have to take into account that this is directed by Chloe Zhao, now Academy Award winning director. Chloe Zhao.
Yep.
Like, that's going to be on a trailer and poster for the Eternals. Marvel's The Eternals. I'm sorry, it's not The Eternals anymore. It's just Eternals. It's Marvel's Eternals, and it's going to have Academy Award director. Like, that hypes me up so much for this movie.
And I'm stoked on that because that's awesome for them, right? Like, absolutely win your award, do your thing. But that lends just so much more legitimacy to the MCU, where there's still the holdouts that are like, it's comic book, whatever, man, it's not art. But you have, like, an Academy Award-winning director on a project. Like, tell me again how it's not
legitimate, right? Yeah, tell me how it's not legitimate anymore. Like, these are the highest grossing movies of all time, and everybody from age 3 to 83 loves them.
I'm sorry, I'll step that back because, you know, these are they're movies, sure, but they're not films. It's not cinema.
You know what? I'm okay with.
There was sarcasm all the way through that. I hope you could detect
that. I mean, they're not Citizen Kane, but they're still pretty good.
No, but they're Citizen Pain.
Bum bum bum. Then we move on to Spider-Man No Way Home, December 17th, 2021. That's 4 MCU movies in 6 months. That's insane.
I feel like I've gone
insane.
so long without any food, and now the MCU is feeding me. I'm excited.
Malfoy in chat here just said Citizen Kane is old and boring.
You know what? That's fair. I'm not gonna fight that. You know?
I mean, he's not wrong.
Only good vibes. Only good vibes on this stream.
He's not wrong. I mean, where do they go after Far From Home? I couldn't tell you. Like, No Way Home is going to be crazy. And if they're going to, integrate any more of other outside characters that we don't know yet, it's gonna blow my mind.
So here's my real quick elevator pitch on what No Way Home is gonna be. No Way Home, and this isn't a meme. I see you, Mitch. I see you. No Way Home is going to be a Catch Me If You Can style Spider-Man romp.
Who's playing the Tom Hanks character?
I don't know. Your boy. Who else would it be?
It's gonna be Willem Dafoe. He's gonna come back.
Oh,
I would love that.
All right.
I would love that. But so he's now wanted for murder.
Uh-huh.
And so he's just a wanted spider criminal. And he's out there jumping from place to place using like laying low here, meeting this person and evading the law there. And it all culminates with him getting reached out to by our girl Val. And now he's going to be in the Dark Avengers with US Agent because he just needs a way to not be under arrest anymore.
Only if Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock shows up and says, "Here, take this black suit from me." Like, then he gets to be the Dark Avenger. I'm all for it.
I don't know, or that's again elevator pitch, whatever. Do with it what you will, but like it could be a thing.
I mean, I could see that happening, possibly. I don't know. Just like you said, Mitch, I have no idea where it's going to go with this, and like all of the hype and all of the speculation. Oh, we got Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and this and that. And you'd think that one of the other Avengers would just show up and go like, "Oh, nah, I believe this kid. He's okay," and just clear it up. But of course, then we wouldn't have a movie, unless they do Endgame, where like they resolve that issue in the first like 10 minutes, and then it does something else.
Yeah, honestly, if Sam or Bucky wants to show up coming off a Winter Soldier and be like, "No, I trust this kid. He kicked my ass at an airport once," like
he knows his business.
Yeah, he kicked my ass and didn't kill me with a gun. So like. I want that to be a thing.
Okay. So we got, after that, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, March 25th, 2022. We don't really have much information on that. We didn't get to see any footage of it. Stories that came out this past week from Kevin Feige is that Doctor Strange was supposed to show up in WandaVision, and those commercials that were happening during the sitcoms were supposed to be messages from Doctor Strange to Wanda to try and break her out of her trance or her spell or whatever you want to call it. So Wanda showing up in Doctor Strange is even more cemented at this point.
I'm hoping that's what happens. That'd be great.
Yes.
And then we get like the first mention of Doom, because he's out there running around being like, "What's magic? I gotta learn." And everybody shows up in a room and they're like, "You gotta stop." And like, I can't stop. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Then we have Thor: Love and Thunder, May 6th, 2022. I mean, who's not excited about this? We're getting Jane Foster Thor. Like,
Yes.
Boom. We're getting Bale. Christian Bale as a bad guy. We're getting Beta Ray Bill. We're getting probably Fat Thor again.
Yep. So I have a bone to pick with you real quick, Mitch, about Beta Ray Bill.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a bone to pick with you. On the Geek Elite social media pages, if you haven't followed them, you need to go follow them. They're pretty fun. A meme was posted with Beta Ray Bill and Moon Knight, and nobody tagged me in this.
You know who you have to blame for this? Because I don't do
Daniel.
the memes. Yep, that's right. You blame Daniel. You go seek out Super Commie Daniel on Twitter, and you say, "Hey, this isn't right."
Hey, I have an arrangement.
Is Chris Hemsworth gonna be in Thor, or is he gonna be in Guardians 3?
Both. He's going to be in both.
He's gonna be in both.
We're gonna have
Okay, no
Guardians.
los dos.
We're gonna have Guardians in Thor: Love and Thunder also. So
Awesome.
yeah,
I'm so excited for that.
yep.
God.
After that, now we get into the new stuff, the stuff that we didn't know about. A mere 3 months later, 2 months later, because we're going into July, from May to July. July 8th, 2022, we're getting Black Panther Wakanda Forever. You know,
Yes.
obviously the hole that Chadwick Boseman is going to be leaving in our hearts. It's going to be a hard thing to fill, but Wakanda Forever, which is interesting because when Ryan Coogler came out and gave that one script to Kevin Feige on stage, it was called, I believe it was called Black Panther 2 Kings. So that means they've had to change. They definitely had to change up the story that he was writing. So
I'm nervous. I'm excited for that one. I'm nervous because I just want it to be. I want it to be good. Like, to look at an MCU movie and be like, oh, I just want it to be good, I feel like is a little silly at this point because they're going to be fun.
mm-hmm.
But just with the air around it of Chadwick Boseman, like it's got to be.
Yeah,
Y'all got to bring it for that one, and however you handle that needs to be. I don't have word for that. It has to be.
Yeah.
it's just going to be, yeah. It's got to be great. So I'm all for it. I can't wait to see it. And we're also going to be getting a Wakanda TV series on Disney Plus at some point after that. So
Ooh,
that's going to be interesting. November 11th, 2022, The Marvels, a sequel to Captain Marvel. Now, we know that we're going to be getting Ms. Marvel as a TV show before that, and there's already leaked pictures of the actress dressed in her Ms. Marvel outfit. That means, with the title of The Marvels, it could mean that we're getting Captain Marvel, Karen Danvers, Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan, one character we just saw in WandaVision. I can't remember her name. She might be going by Spectrum.
Yep. No,
Monica Rambeau.
There it is.
Monica
I was
Rambeau.
like, it's Rambo's. It's
And I heard someone else throw this out there because I don't want to take credit for it. But what if they introduce Blue Marvel, the character that in the Marvel universe that was like retroactively introduced not too long ago, in the last decade? He's basically a Superman-like character. But he's also a scientist, and he's been kept secret for a very long time. I brought him up a few times when we were talking about WandaVision, when they were talking about the astrophysicist that she could have been talking to. Like, this character could be introduced here, and I'd be all for it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be great to see. I'm excited for the Marvels. I think anything where it's team ups, I'm always down for, because that adds so many elements of just that camaraderie. And I love like buddy cop type films. So, just buddy cop, but superheroes. I'm down.
I mean, I honestly wondered where they were going to go with the sequel to Captain Marvel when they were going to come out with it. Like, I had no idea, and I'm all for this.
Yeah.
So real quick, jump back real quick, because Rafa said buddy cop movies. Spider-Man No Way Home is actually just going to be a buddy cop film where Nova comes to Earth. And Spider-Man and Nova are just like, hey, what up? About like, where Nova's like the straight edge cop who takes no nonsense, and Spider-Man is just like the not so angry loose cannon cop that doesn't play by the rules because he doesn't know the rules.
Tom Holland.
I'll join you in this conspiracy and say I think that this movie is just going to be a shot-for-shot remake of Shane Black's The Nice Guys, with Ryan Gosling playing in Spider-Man spandex, and
Russell Crowe
being Nova. It's just in Nova suit. but just a shot-for-shot remake of that film. I'd watch that. I'd watch that all day.
You said in my head it was the other guys.
Oh. With Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg.
Yes, I was like, Ryan Gosling was in that movie. Both are fantastic, and I want both of them.
I watch those.
Malfoy loved that. Anyway, sorry. Proceed with the list.
Then in February 17th, 2023, I mean, this is all the way up to 2023 now. We're getting the third Ant-Man movie, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Obviously, we're going to be going deep. We're going to be going deep into that quantum verse and seeing what else is there for us to explore. And if what I said was true about Ant-Man and the Wasp, where they're making hints at a certain team of 4, that will definitely lead into what happens at the end of this trailer. But what were you about to say, Rafa?
I was going to say, give me more Paul Rudd. Inject that right into my veins. I'm always down. Just the fact that it's called Quantumania, I mean, that reminds me so much of WrestleMania, and I'm down for that. I hope they have some kind of low-key just homage to some kind of wrestling. I want to see Paul Rudd in just like a makeshift Ant-Man suit fighting in a wrestling ring made of twigs, Anthony, or some other kind of
They should you remember we used to have the toy ring for the like little you put them on the rope and you have them fling at each other and stuff like that.
Yep.
That's what you get them shrinking down small enough so they can wrestle it out on those rings.
I'd be so down for that. But yeah,
That's amazing.
I don't think whatever Quantumania wants to be, I'm going to love. There is nothing to me that Paul Rudd can't not do. And so just watching him in this, I loved Ant-Man. I loved Ant-Man and the Wasp. I love him as Scott Lang. Hell yeah, give it to me.
Well, we know he can't age, so there's that.
Right. He's whatever weird science experiment serum, whatever it is that Keanu Reeves is on, Paul Rudd is also on it.
True. He's on the exact opposite of what the Shazam kids have, and they haven't still made the sequel, but whatever.
But we're not mad about it. You can't
not
prove
at
it.
all. No.
True, good vibes. Good vibes only.
You can be mad about that one, Rafa. I give you permission.
And then we're returning to outer space with the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, May 5th, 2023. I mean, who's not going to be there for that? Everybody loves those two movies. It's going to be I mean, off the chain. I said off the chain.
As long as Volume 3 is better than Volume 2, we've gone through the list. We know how I stand on Guardians Volume 2, so we don't have to get into it. I'm right. Everyone else has a different opinion, and it's okay to be wrong sometimes.
That's the passion, Ian. That's the passion. There's nothing wrong with that. Gotta love what you love, hate what you hate. And at the end of the day, we got adult Groot, we got baby Groot, we got adolescent Groot. Are we gonna get Abuelo, old man Groot? I just want to see like from the movie Coco, like the abuela, but like he's Groot. So like he's an abuelo just in a chair, and it's like Groot. And that's what I want. Also, what songs do you anticipate are gonna be in Volume 3?
Oh,
late 80s jams.
Yeah. I feel like there's going to be some late 80s jams in there. You're going to get some maybe creeping into the early 90s.
If we're going that far, we're going to get Smells Like Teen Spirit, and I feel like we're going to get Panama by Van Halen.
Panama! That'd be great. And he's just like driving to Milano.
Yeah. Panama!
I'd be so down.
I've been wanting to ask this of Magic Bollock since, so hopefully he's still in the chat. I've been wanting to ask him this since the trailer came out, but the logo for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 has the image of the Knight Rider fucking thing on it. So I know he's a big fan of 80s cars, 80s TVs and movie cars. So I wonder if he saw that or not.
Malfoy wants Jump by Van Halen in there. And you know what? I'd be cool with it as long as there was some Van Halen in there.
I feel like, this might be too late, but I feel like there might be a little bit of like TLC in there, like waterfalls or creep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Creep would be great. Yeah.
Creep would be great. Or yeah, I'd be down for that. Also, Magic Bollocks just gave you smiley face with big old star eyes. Just like so I assume that means yes.
Yes, he dug it. Okay, and then the last thing was a little tease of
the
maybe
X-Men.
the end. No, not the X-Men. Not Blade, which I thought might have been showing up, but a 4. Most likely 4 Fantastic Four, but I have heard that maybe it meant Captain America 4, which we know we're going to be getting. But
that'd be such a shitty thing to do.
Yeah, they know what they're doing. It has to be Fantastic.
Right.
I've already started seeing comics recently in Fantastic Four where they're making Reed Richards look like John Krasinski, and it's messing me up.
No, really?
Yes, I will. Give me a second. I'm going to find it. I'm going to find this picture.
Look,
find it.
I'm going to show it.
He's not my first choice because I want him to play Oliver Queen on the big screen, but I'm not going to be upset when he's actually Reed Richards. However,
you're making Mitch's heart happy.
I came up with a casting the other day that I thought would be pretty good. Oh, Daniel Day Kim. I think he would be a great Reed Richards. I don't know if you all remember Daniel Day Kim from Lost.
Yes.
Yeah. So I thought he'd be a pretty great Reed Richards. You can currently watch him on New Amsterdam on NBC. There you go, New Amsterdam.
There was one I saw earlier. Let me find it real quick. That I think they were talking about. It's not something that would happen, but it's something that I kind of want to happen. And that would be making Reed Richards, played by famed WWE wrestler Kofi Kingston.
Oh,
okay.
And I'd be like, I'm here for that. Like do your thing.
So overall,
that's a very interesting choice for sure.
But like, I'm here for it. Also, Magic Bollocks really wants Ice Baby involved in the next Guardians film.
The soundtrack somehow.
Yeah.
I mean,
Malfoy's hype for Daniel Day Kim.
I could see just about anything showing up with James Gunn behind the soundtrack. So, and I'm here for it. And that's what this trailer did. This trailer made it so that I'm super hyped. Not that I wasn't already, but super hyped for all the stuff we're going to be getting MCU related in the next 3 years. So,
see, but this is actually an elaborate ruse. Because if you take the 4 and turn it ever so slightly like they want us to do, it becomes an X in a circle. In which case, obviously, it's the X-Men.
I was
obviously yes.
I was still seeing like that 4 like is just enough like an Avengers A to be like, haha, we're fooling you again. It's just another Avengers movie.
Okay, so I found it. It's in an issue. It's one of the comics that are coming up, Marvel Stormbreakers. So basically it's RB Silva art, and I think this is from Fantastic 25, 26, and 28. I got it in the issue of Sword. Tell me, and hopefully you'll be able to see it. Tell me that is not John Krasinski.
Oh, that's definitely John Krasinski. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's John 100%. Krasinski right from The Quiet Place.
Yep.
Also known as Beard Krasinski.
Yep. So they're doing it. They're doing it.
John Beardzinski?
I think that one. That's the one I would go with. But as I said, we did not see a tease of Blade, which I believe the MCU is calling Blade the Vampire Slayer. Like that's the title they're going to be going with.
Buffy
with Mahershala
I hope
Ali.
Not.
I hope not too, but we'll see.
Even if they called it like Blade, the Daywalker, that'd be cooler than the Vampire Slayer.
That's right. It would.
Or like Blade, I'ma kick that ass.
Like Blade is just one of those movies that doesn't need It doesn't need like a subtitle.
It
Just
doesn't.
Blade. Blade is perfect.
Unless you're trying to differentiate between movies, in which case
I liked Blade and Blade 2. Like, just give it a 2, give it a 3. Well, I guess they didn't give it a 3. They gave it Trinity. There is a weird subtitle for the second Blade movie. It's in certain markets.
I just saw it. Where was it?
If it didn't happen in America, it didn't happen. So.
I mean, that is very American of you.
What if they call it Mahershala Ali's Blade? Mahershala Ali in Blade.
The Blade.
Malfoy just said, quote, a Star Wars story.
That's right. But in 1998, we got a Blade movie. We got a Blade movie with one Grandmaster Black Belt martial artist, Wesley Snipes. Like, obviously, I'd seen movies with Wesley Snipes in it before, but I'd never seen Wesley Snipes like this before. So I saw this movie and I was all for it. I didn't know that this was a comic book character when I first saw this movie. Like my experience with comic book movies at this point was a couple Superman movies and a couple Batman movies. Like, I don't think I'd seen any other, not to my knowledge, comic book movies, because I never watched the Punisher movie that came out with Dolph Lundgren before this. I didn't watch Howard the Duck. Like, I might have watched Howard the Duck, but still.
You didn't need to.
No, exactly. I completely agree. Same. When I saw it as a kid, I just thought it was a vampire movie, and it had an awesome kung fu in it, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm down for this.
I mean,
that in itself made it so much better.
You remember a time when we actually killed vampires? Like, the point was to kill the vampires, not fall in love with them.
Exactly. This was kind of like when we talk about vampires, right? You have the different areas, right? You have the romanticism that's involved in it, which is great, the seduction. But what Blade does so well, and the same thing that another movie I want to drop, what is it, 30 Days of Night?
30 Days of Night, yeah.
Like, they present these vampires as these horrific monsters, and they will tear you apart, and they need to be destroyed in the most violent and gruesome ways possible. Yes. And as a kid, and even as an adult, I appreciated that. Because when we're looking at this, right, this is a very interesting kind of startup for what these Marvel movies could be. Because this was before they had the whole idea of this MCU, right? Before they had this shared universe. And this movie is a rated R, straight up late 90s action horror film. It has a very strong 90s aesthetic, which to this day still holds up. And it reminds me so much of The Matrix and looks so clean and so cool. Wesley Snipes, though he's not, the nicest man in the world, and yes, he did some questionable things in Blade Trinity, which cracked me up to this day. When he was in Blade, like, this was a character that was so cool. He had like 2 grand entrances. The first one in that awesome rave scene when everyone is covered in blood and he walks in, not a speck of blood.
Not a speck.
Not a speck.
None.
Walks in, slow motion, has that grin, starts killing vampires. Ends that scene by burning one of them alive and just dips. And that's the coolest thing in the world. Second introduction is after he drinks the blood of Karen. And he comes down and he kills all those vampires, gets his sword, puts it down, ready to fight Deacon Frost. This is a character that was so cool. Even watching it literally 2 days ago, I got goosebumps just thinking how cool Blade is. Like, this is how you introduce a character. If we're looking at Tony Stark and Iron Man, when he shows up for the first time in the Iron Man suit, he goes to that village and he like has the little missile that blows up those bad guys. That was a cool moment, but nothing is cooler than Wesley Snipes in that black suit, just showcasing that dope ass haircut with his stake handled shotgun and that awesome katana. It is the coolest shit ever. And the best part is he plays the stoic, quiet character, but he still has so much personality.
He does.
He's got that charisma, right?
Oh yeah.
And God, I could talk about this forever, but I love this movie. Some of the CGI effects don't hold up as well.
But they weren't good back then either.
Yeah, exactly. And I was so hyped for all of it. Also, Deacon Frost, sexy ass vampire, horrifying, I love Steven Dorff, especially in Cecil B. Demented. So seeing him in this, I was like, again, this is a movie that I watched so many times as a kid that rewatching this movie, I felt like before a scene happened, I'm like, oh yeah, this is what's gonna happen. Oh yeah, and the lines would be in my head before they would come out of their mouths, and it was just so surreal.
So in regards to the charisma, the fact that Wesley Snipes could carry the scene off of like looking at you over his glasses, or just like that little smile that he does, and just like, like that's all he had to do in a scene, and it was just like that was badass. Like I love that. Also, what is this guy's name? Donald Logue?
Donald Logue, actually from El Centro. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's from El Centro.
He's one of those dudes that I've seen in everything, and I always forget who he is until I see him, and I'm like, where have I seen you before? But like, just going off of a couple things, obviously he's in Blade, he was in The Patriot, Reindeer Games, Departure, he was in the entirety of Gotham.
Yep.
He was
Harvey Bullock.
He was Gordon's partner there. Like, he's been all over the place. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, hey, it's that guy, haha, because I'd forgotten his role in the movie. And I just love him as like the comic relief bad guy who keeps losing his hands.
So
come on, Deke, I just grew him back.
And he has these moments where he's scary too. That's what this movie does so well. Like, there's moments of actual horror combined with like grotesque, like, oh, these are vampires. Like when they introduce Pearl, that super fat vampire, right? Like that scene is so stuck in my head of when Karen is like shining that ultraviolet light on it, and it's just slowly dying. It's just, I could smell that room. Like, that's how strong that was.
Like I remember seeing that scene for the first time and just thinking, yeah, they're immortal. They heal from everything. So this vampire could sit there and just eat and eat and eat, and they wouldn't die. They wouldn't, no adverse effects other than the fact that they can't move because they're so big. But like, that's insane. Like, and I wanted to bring it up earlier, 3 movies. Blade has 3 movies at this point and 1 TV series, and everybody talks about the bloodbath scene at the very beginning of the first movie. Like, that is the scene that everybody talks about all the time, and I love it.
Malfoy actually just put that in chat, saying the opening scene makes me physically uncomfortable thinking the pressure needed to pump the blood from bodies to sprinklers. And I remember watching it being like, oh yeah, this is great, like all the vampires partying it up, like, of course, hey look, it's very Matrix reminiscent. Oh my god. Like, as soon as those sprinklers kick on and the one human in there is like, I made a mistake. I
did think about that though when I was watching this movie this time. I was like, why did they just bring one human? Were they all going to feed off of this one human? Was it all just to beat the crap out of this one human? Is it just to freak him out? Like, why one human in that whole room of vampires?
I think it was just, they were all just at the club. They weren't supposed to bring any humans. There wasn't a plan for it. And she just brought one. And everyone's like, oh.
And that one vampire that brings him? Tracy Lords. Ask Magic Bollocks. Magic Bollocks knows all about Tracy Lords.
God. But yeah, no, everyone always talks about that scene. It's because it's so iconic. It's gross. It has the shock factor. It has that sick soundtrack. Everyone's going crazy. You feel for this guy, like, oh, he's gonna die. And then again, like we talked about, just the introduction of the coolest hero ever, with again no goddamn blood on any of his attire.
None.
Magic Bullocks instantly chimed in on Tracy Lords.
What'd he say?
He's like, former porn star Tracy Lords.
You mentioned it before. We have Wesley Snipes, Steven Dorff. We also have Chris Christopherson, like musician turned actor, like big guy, dude that's done everything as Whistler. Donald Logue. Imbush Wright, I don't think I've seen her in anything else other than this movie. She played our doctor, but does an amazing job in this. Like, gives her character more than just the damsel in distress. Like, literally gives her agency in everything she does.
She's a badass.
Oh yeah.
Like the minute that she was like, look, I'm either gonna I'm either hanging out with you or I'm dying, so I'm hanging out with you. And Blade's response was, all right, here's a gun.
and then she immediately starts working on a cure, and she creates that coagulant serum stuff that makes the vampires blow up. I mean, she is just very useful.
And she's the one who's like, all right, this like archivist in here isn't talking, so like, here's a UV light. Like, we don't have all day. Quite literally, like, all right, you gonna talk or not? Like, she's just kick ass. She's cool the whole way through, and like, she's rad.
Sanaa Lathan plays Blade's mother, and also, eventually Deacon Frost's girlfriend, lover, sure.
Didn't she also play the main character in Alien vs. Predator? Didn't she?
Yeah, she did. Like, she got after this, she blew up quite a bit. She was in a lot of things. Ends up being in a couple of Denzel Washington movies, if I remember correctly. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say fun facts from chat here real quick, because they are very talkative this evening. I'm loving this. Magic Bollocks fun fact: Tracy is third build and doesn't make it past the opening credits.
This is true.
And from Malfoy, Brenda Song, famously from Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, as well in her role from The Social Network, is the little girl who gets thrown at the hot dog stand.
That's
no way.
Her?
Is it?
No way. I gotta go back. I gotta go back and see that. No way.
I don't believe that.
That scene was. If we could talk about that scene for a second, just when Deacon's out there and she's holding her with the long ass nail, I know that part was like, okay, he's gonna kill this small child. And then the fact that he chucks her through that bus station part, and she's like not unconscious. That in itself was insane to me.
and then Blade just has his little go home.
Go home, kid. I'm like, Jesus Christ, get her to a hospital.
Nah. She wasn't knocked out or anything. She's fine.
Right. No, but talking back about Blade's mom, it wasn't just me who got some weird incest vibes, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. It was like, what's going on here? I am not comfortable.
They definitely try to play it off as like the whole, well, your mom died all those years ago. Like, I'm not the same person, like kind of thing. I mean, I don't think the genetics says anything different, but yeah, that's what they try to play off.
She was just trying to tell him, I'm one of the demon vampires from the Titty Twister From Dusk Till Dawn. It works.
That's something
go ahead.
Something I wish this movie had was the dick gun from Dusk Till Dawn.
With Tom Savini.
That thing is so ridiculous just to have a scene where he's like, pow, and shoots it. He's just like.
So the last cast member that I wanted to bring up is a person that actually is in the MCU twice as two different characters. The doctor that is a former boyfriend of our main character of Helen. Is that her name? Karen. Sorry, Karen.
Karen.
So Curtis, the other doctor, the one that ends up being turned into like the zombie kind of like character. Tim Guini. He eventually plays Major Allen in Iron Man and Iron Man 2. You remember when in the first Iron Man, when the pilots are having to kind of dogfight with Iron Man, and they're like, "Do you know who it is?" And like, I need to take him out of there. Like, he's talking to Rhodey. Also in, I want to say, The Punisher. He's the father of the Punisher TV series that was on Netflix. He's the father of one of the characters that comes back from the war and is kind of messed up, trying to get his head right, but like him and his dad keep fighting over stuff, and I think his dad eventually gets killed. So Tim gets killed in that.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Oh, I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. But that character. So again, when we're talking about the horror, that part where she's thrown down there, and he's just the way that he's talking like this, and again, she kicks his ass, like she gets out of there. But that scared the shit out of me.
Like the body horror stuff in this movie is really well done.
Mm-hmm.
And like the gore in it, like obviously it's a vampire movie, there's gonna be a ton of blood. It, for as much as it was, it doesn't feel gratuitous.
The only part that I felt like might have been gratuitous is when he first uses those blood coagulant like weapon where their head like grows and then blows up. That's about it though. That's how I felt.
I love that. That every time I see that scene, I just want to drink a big gallon Kool-Aid. I'm so hype because those are the same two. Because they're not. It's weird because those two actors are the same familiars who follow Karen that are in the elevator.
Oh, is it?
But in that scene, they're both familiars because they have the tag. But then in that scene now, I don't know if they were turned into vampires.
Had to have been, yeah.
Yeah, but so I mean, that scene is just so good because again, I love all the martial arts. Even that moment where they're in that the lair of Pearl, the big fat vampire, and the fact that Blade has to fight that little girl, and she just straight up using her kicks on him. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm down for this.
I loved talking about the vampires that followed Karen in the elevator and all that stuff. When she finally gets back to her apartment and the other familiar, the cop, shows up, and Blade comes in and is just wrecking up the apartment. And the whole time Karen's like, really?
Do you have to? Do you have to destroy my stuff?
Yep.
And I like that from that point. Like right before when she turns around to spray those familiars with the mace, the garlic mace, like we've been waiting for that to work because she uses it on the cop and like it doesn't work. It doesn't pay off until the very end of the movie when you forgot that she still has it and she uses it on the side chick, on Deacon Frost's side chick, like right into her mouth and she chokes on it.
Yep.
This movie is a great example of how to write like an action horror movie that simultaneously takes itself too seriously and nowhere near seriously enough. Like there's like go for it.
I love that you bring up the writer, since Magic Bollocks and I will have this fight until the day we die. David S. Goyer is the writer of this. He will go on to write or at least partly write the Dark Knight series, the other Blade movies. He directs the third Blade movie, which I like the most, and I know not a lot of people do.
Triple H.
It's not my favorite, but it's still a great film. That is so quick tangent. Blade Trinity is the first book, like movie novelization I ever purchased and read from cover to end.
Oh,
just because I love that movie that much.
I can't wait till we get to that movie and ask you about it. Ask you all about it.
And what's the name of the guy who played Dracula? Dominic
Purcell.
Is that his name?
Not Purcell. Oh man,
but he's the dude in Legends of Tomorrow, right?
Yeah, he's in Legends of Tomorrow now, or at least
that dude. Yeah. He plays such a sexy Dracula. We'll save it for Blade Trinity. We'll save it for Blade Trinity.
Just checking in from chat here. As soon as you brought up the writer, 2 messages back to back from Magic Bollocks, just boo.
How dare he? How dare he?
Also, Rafa 10 Speed says hello.
Hi, Sydney. I miss you.
And then the director of this movie, Stephen Norrington, goes on to direct another comic book movie, The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Also would be the last movie he directs, which is unfortunate. I like The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but
the world wasn't ready for that movie.
It really wasn't. It really wasn't.
Okay, so let's think from chat here for a minute. My sister says it's a whole separate archetype. You have your Draculas and you have your sexy Draculas.
Fair.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
I mean, you got to keep them.
Bram Stoker ends up using both in that one movie, right? Don't they trying to make Gary Oldman look like a sexy Dracula?
Sure. I mean, to be fair, has there ever not been a sexy Dracula? Let's think about that.
Nosferatu.
Okay, but that's not technically Dracula, unless we're just calling vampires Draculas, which I feel like might be a little racist.
Maybe you're right.
That's fair. That is part of the allure of Dracula, right? To make him sexy and makes it so that everyone falls in love with him.
To anyone who identifies as a vampire. Talking about that, by the way, God. Watching this, so before I rewatched Blade this week, I just finished season 2 of What We Do in the Shadows. All of it just fits so well together. I love it.
I
Good
feel like
choice.
they should have a Blade-like character show up in that show.
Exactly. Doesn't know, but Wesley Snipes is in that. He plays one of the Vampire Nation, I believe.
Oh, really?
I love
Yeah.
that.
In the TV
He's
series?
in it, I remember. In the TV series, because there's an
I haven't
episode
watched
towards
the
the
TV
end
series.
where it's all of them together, like it's the Vampire Nation, and it's like she was the wife to Marilyn Manson, but not anymore. Rachel Evan Wood.
Oh, okay.
So it's her, and then it's a couple of big actors, the people from the movies. It's a whole thing. Watch What We Do in the Shadows is a great series.
Okay.
I had a thought and I lost it. Nope, it's there. Hi. Okay. I have 2 questions about like vampire mechanics that the end of this movie gave us.
Okay.
All right. 1. It was Karen that killed it was Blade that killed his mom with the bone, right?
With a bone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm cool with it if he had staked her in the heart, like whatever, like, but it looked like he stabbed her like just under the sternum, like in like the stomach. So are we just gonna be like, nah, it's cool because Blade? Like, I'm down to call it that if we want to call it that.
I think it's that.
Okay.
Because there's a scene right after that, and Rafa talked about it earlier, when he does his second intro where he comes down with the sword after he's already like beat everybody's ass with his hands, and he does the whole flippy with the sword thing. But then the 2 guys that are behind him start to dust. I'm like, why did they dust? They didn't get hit with anything.
And I have the perfect answer. It's because Blade, as they say, is the chosen one, and his arms are weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah.
And it's that passion, that energy. He wanted his mom vampire to die so bad with that bone that she just did.
All right. Now, Vampire Mechanics Part 2.
Okay.
Also, because I called it Vampire Mechanics, Magic Pollock said, yep, vampires can definitely change your oil. But Blade has to succumb to the thirst to live. He drinks Karen's blood.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the fact that he's like, he was the Daywalker, so he drinks the blood and he's now like a confirmed vampire, but he's still the Daywalker? Or what? Because at the end, they come out into the sunlight like it's no big deal, but he kind of had to become what he was fighting to beat Deacon, if I was reading that.
Well, I don't think that even if he just drank blood, it wouldn't make it so that he wasn't the Daywalker. Being the Daywalker is just because he was half human, half vampire.
Okay, so was his whole thing about like, I ain't drinking the blood, just more of like a
moral
like
thing.
A moral stance? Yeah. Oh, man.
But obviously drinking human blood makes him stronger.
Yes.
Way cooler.
Which allowed him to just murder everyone in that room immediately. Also, the best part, right, is when I forget the name of the actor, but Quinn, the lackey, the comic relief, is like, all right, let me take him out. Killed immediately. And then just as he dies, right, the sunglasses goes up, catches him, the music starts playing, puts him on, kills everybody else.
I was watching that fight with my brother-in-law, and he's like, I got him, here we go. And he just gets hit with that like silver Garrett wire. And he catches as the music hits, and he catches the sunglasses. My brother-in-law goes, "Oh, they fucked now."
and that's the passion. That's the feeling you get. That's why this movie has lasted the test of time, because there's better movies that exist, but this movie just feels cool, and that's its whole thing. It feels cool. It's a good 2 hours of just vampire killing, and then everything about it is just so much fun. Going back to a point though, talking about him drinking blood. Watching him drink Karen's blood, first of all, as a kid, was so sexual. And even now, I just remember just thinking,
as a 39-year-old, that was very sexual.
Right? And God, the amount of blood that he drank from her, she could still walk and kill Deacon's like second in command with her garlic spray. I don't know how she was even conscious, let alone alive.
And that's after killing a whole grip of other vampires with that kick-ass shotgun that you never have to reload because it kills vampires.
I mean, it can hold 12. It's fine.
I think we counted in one scene, and it was like 15. And I'm like...
I mean, it shoots regular slugs or whatever.
Yeah.
But then it also shoots like stakes, like silver stakes, which I don't know how that works, but way to go, Whistler.
Right.
Yep.
And bringing up Whistler. Oh my God. The tragedy of the character that is like angry, cool grandpa. Like, rest in peace, rest in peace, Whistler for now.
Like, one thing I noticed in this one, I never realized that his first name was Abraham, like as in going with the whole Bram Stoker, Abraham Stoker. And two, did this time watching it, I know this isn't your second time watching the movie, but like the fact that you know that he's going to return in the second movie, did it change anything for either of you? Or did it still hit?
It still hit. It just made me mad. Where it's like, nah, you know you got bit a whole bunch. Like, why don't you just be like, nah, I'm good. Give me a minute.
For me, it still hits because I think the main part of it is he is a surrogate father in a sense to Blade, and this is the first one where we see him be vulnerable as he's cleaning the blood wounds, and I think that's a really important scene. And then Whistler just basically says, "Give me your gun, get the fuck out of here." And I think that in itself makes it more powerful for me, and I like that moment. I just want them to hug each other, but I'm never going to get that, of course, because they're too macho to do that. But the thing, it's more of a technical thing that makes me angry because I know he comes back, but we hear him shoot himself. Yet he comes back, and it's always like, well, maybe he doesn't shoot himself or he shoots himself wrong. Because the whole thing is, he didn't really get bit. They just kind of beat the shit out of him, and then they put him in that tub or whatever just to use him against Blade one day, and then Blade gets him out. And then we get Daryl Dixon, which is awesome.
That's
So that's
good.
spoilers for Blade 2.
Yeah,
Magic Bullock says Whistler should hang out with Stick from Daredevil.
that would be cool. I would love to hear that conversation of the two of them just like complaining.
I killed so many vampires. I killed so many ninjas. Well, I killed so many vampire ninjas. Well, I killed 18,000 more ninjas than your vampire ninjas.
Yeah, no, this is a great movie. There's so much more that we could be we could probably talk for a lot more, but we're getting towards the end. Let's talk about that. I don't know. Does anybody remember? Was there any toys that came out of this movie? It's an R-rated movie. Did they make toys for kids from R-rated movies at that time?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't
remember.
Blade toys coming out, and I would have gotten something.
So what's the toy that you would have loved to have seen?
The Blade like costume set where it's like a vest and the sword, and you have like a thing of like plastic stakes.
I would have loved a 6-inch Blade action figure. It's one of those though where like you put the sword in his hands and then you squeeze the legs and he does this. and then it comes with like a Vampire 2 set. And then, like, maybe, like, if you stab them, like, the head can come off, or it has a removable head. That'd be cool. Those are toys that I would love.
And 10-Speed pointed out there were the McFarlane Blade toys. But we're talking, like, there's those, but we're talking more of, like, the, like, run-of-the-mill, like, like Walmart kind of toys, yeah? All right. I also think that if you wanted to get, like, action figure playset kind of stuff, you do the tomb from the end.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely.
You do the tomb from the end, and there at that point, then you could put out action figures for all of the main characters.
Okay.
And you complete the set so you can recreate the scene. Because why wouldn't you want to recreate the scene?
See,
I like that. Go ahead, Mitch.
Oh, I was gonna say I definitely want a La Magra like Deacon Frost that like in the middle splits and there's like a red gack like in between there that just does the whole scene where he's like then comes right back together. But what were you gonna? Oh, I want a toy. I wanted the toy of the boomerang that he uses in the first bloodbath scene. Like that's a badass weapon. I would love to have seen that. What were you gonna say?
Going back to what Ian was saying, right, with the playset, same idea, just make it Lego, just so that I can have Pearl as a giant Lego. Just Jabba the Hutt. I would love that so much.
Okay, yeah. So there were Blade toys. Thank you, 10 Speed. I appreciate you. I was looking on my side also. Because I misread. They were asking if it was McFarlane Toys. But then she linked to Blade movie, Blade in Trench Coat by Toy Biz. And it's just Blade in the trench coat with all of the like weapons as like accessories to put in their hand. It's pretty great. I kind of want it because I remember seeing Blade like action figures and stuff at Hastings, but that was well after the fact. So like, also I want the motorcycle.
Always. I wanted to bring up the fact that there is an alternate ending for Blade, where there was Michael Morbius actually shows up. You don't really get to see him. He's like on a faraway rooftop, but we know that it was Michael Morbius, the living vampire. We're not going to get to see Michael Morbius again until shows up in Sony in 2022. So there's that.
Which, I'm sorry, if we're bringing Morbius into it, why aren't we getting a Blade movie?
They're working on it. Don't worry.
No, I'm upset. I'm mad about it.
Yeah, I want it now because do you think that they can have it done by the time we finish Blade Trinity?
I could. You know what?
What kind of a petition or what kind of petition can we get started to have them saying, give us the Mahershala cut. Give it to us.
Give it to us.
You know what? I'll make you this deal. By the time we finish Blade Trinity, hit me with a budget, and I'll get you the new Blade movie made.
I would love to see that.
And then I believe there was also an alternate to the La Magra scene where like Deacon Frost just turns into a giant like tornado of blood, and his face just shows up every once in a while. It's even worse special effects than what we got.
Oh yeah.
So
it didn't test well with audiences because they wanted the payoff of Blade killing Deacon Frost after all that he did to him. So ultimately, they decided to do the superior option, which was Deacon Frost is Deacon Frost, but with the red eyes. Letting us know that he's been superpowered.
What'd you think of using the coagulant to kill Deacon Frost as a way to go?
It was the best method just because by chopping him up, he wouldn't have died. So blowing him up and just seeing him just turn into a grotesque monster and exploding, I loved that as a kid. And even watching it now, I still loved it. So I had no problem with it.
I still find it hilarious that the director decided to keep that one leg, the left leg, like in the right shape. Like everything else grows grotesquely big, but the leg stays the same, and then he blows up. Like I guess Blade just didn't throw a needle into that leg, and then
one leg survived.
And then Stephen Dwarf, takes that last needle to the head and turns straight to the camera to look. Yep. Looking like, oh man, I fucked up.
It's for the audience to see. That's what you get, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love it. I think that if he had just like stabbed him full of the anticoagulant, it wouldn't have been as cool. It's that last one where he throws it up and then kicks it.
Has to kick it.
That makes it just so cool.
So what if anything from this movie do you think will show up in Mahershala Ali's Blade?
I think we're gonna have a lot of the meditation, more of the meditation scenes where he's kind of one with himself doing that. He's gonna be wearing sunglasses inside all the time, which I'm all about.
Has to be. Are you kidding me? They have to be Oakley Force.
Yep. And I wonder if they're gonna go with bald Blade or if they're gonna go with the Wesley Snipes Blade hair.
Yeah, that's a good question.
That is a good question. I don't think that you're gonna get a bald one, and I don't think you're gonna get the stripes that you got from Wesley Snipes. I think you still have hair though. Who would you cast as Whistler?
I need a minute because I had the first name popped into my head is a total meme, and I don't want to actually give you a meme for this one because the first one that popped into mind was Steve Carell.
Oh,
and that's not the answer. Magic Bollocks says Sam Elliott.
I mean, Sam Elliott would be great, and people would be like, "Did they just get the same guy to come back?" Because a lot of people wouldn't be able to tell the difference between Chris Christopherson and Sam Elliott. And then they'd also think, "Why is Thunderbolt Ross also Whistler?" Because these three guys all look the same.
It's true.
I don't know. I don't know who would be a good Whistler.
Yeah, I feel like I just have to see him.
Hugh Laurie.
Yeah, that's
Dr. House.
I'd be here for it. 10 Speed says Jeff Bridges.
Obadiah Stane coming back after being.
I'm here for it. I'm so here for it, though.
It wouldn't be the first time that they've reused actors. So
no,
why
not at all.
Yeah,
and like I'm 100% here for that. We could also do what's this? Damn it! Hold on, let me find names. Converse amongst yourselves.
How about the guy that played? I'd like to see the dude that played Jorah Mormont from Game of Thrones.
Ooh!
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Do a good job.
Yeah.
I think it's like Ian or Glenn. I think that's his name.
Yeah, something like that. He just recently played Bruce Wayne in Titans.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Speaking of,
I think that could work.
What about Pierce Brosnan?
Ooh,
that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Get him all gruffed up and like walking around with a limp. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Okay. Here's this then, because another 10-speed recommendation. Method Man.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Is he old enough? Like he's got to be older than Mahershala Ali.
Yeah.
I mean, but then again,
No.
it's Disney. They can make anybody look any age. So
fuck the bullshit. If they're gonna do it right, if they're gonna go that route, Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes plays him.
I mean, that's not a bad call. Get him to come back and be Whistler.
Maybe change the name or update it differently. Something. Maybe this is a different type of Blade. I don't know. Whatever they want to do.
And
I'd like to see Wesley Snipes in some capacity in this film.
And like, Method Man's not like a young dude anymore. He's not like old, but he's not like young. So
I mean, there has to be at least a good 20 years in age between the two of them for it to work.
I think we could do that. I think between the two characters, I think it would be just fine. And also, if he were still around, I think Alex Trebek could have been really cool.
That would have been an interesting choice.
My chat is out here. My chat is out here with the fire recommendations right now. This isn't me. But like, rest in peace, Alex Trebek. You would have been rad as Whistler.
Any last thoughts from the chat, just in general, about Blade and how great it is? Like, yes, this movie is over 20 years old now.
Yep.
And we still all enjoyed it, even with its flaws. Like, it was just as good now as it was then when we watched it. So I am all for what they're going to do next with Blade. It does have a huge legacy to live up to, though.
Yes, it does.
Rafa, where can people find you online?
If you enjoyed me hanging out with everybody here, you can find me on YouTube as Mobile Rafi. I review action figures as well as sometimes talk about movies, video games, and just kind of my everyday whatever I'm doing. I love superheroes. I love wrestling. Or you can also follow me on Twitter. Same thing, at Mobile Rafi, where I discuss and sometimes post, again, things on my movie channel, which is at Rafa at the Movies. And yeah, come check me out. I'd love for you guys to come talk to me, and it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Rafa has good taste in toys.
He does. Ian, where can people find you online?
Hi. If you're listening to this in the future, which is now your present, and now oddly your past as well, you can find us live on Wednesdays at twitch.tv/IanFlux. We do this every week. You heard me talking about what chat was saying. If you want to be a part of chat and have a contribution to the conversation, come through. There's nothing stopping you other than maybe time zones, in which case that's a you problem. But if you want to talk to me, you can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter at IanFlux12, and Instagram, forgot the word there, at IanFlux. Either way, that is IANFLUX, and on Twitter, IANFLUX, the numbers 1, 2, and don't look now. But if you ask very nicely, Mitch will tell you where to find him on the internet.
I mean, if you really want to find me, you can come find me. I am on Twitter. I am at Mitchopedia, GEM. GEM stands for Geek Elite Media. The rest of Geek Elite Media is at Geek Elite Media on Twitter, at Geek Elite Media on Instagram, and Facebook.com/Geek Elite Media is our Facebook page. Check out archived episodes of this podcast and other podcasts on our network on our website, geekelitemedia.com. And whatever podcatcher you use to listen to us, please rate and review us. It helps spread the word of our network. Remember to come back next week. We're going to be jumping into one of the Marvel movies that I have never seen. I've never seen this either. One. Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., starring David Hasselhoff. I have never seen this movie. I am super excited to watch it and talk about it. I think I'm going to be super disappointed, but I can't wait.
I'm ready to be disappointed, and I'm ready to get past it to talk about X-Men.
But until next time, this is Journey into Mystery on the Geek Elite Media Network, saying always remember to... Geek out.
Geek out.
This concludes our broadcast. Beep.